Hello, everybody, and welcome to my Impact Wrestling review. To be honest, it's been a very eventful few days I would say, in wrestling in general. And I know there's many topics to speak on. I'm probably gonna save it till maybe Monday, since a lot of news is from other wrestling companies. I'm just here to do the Impact review because I could go on about the recent releases or recent changes as regarding the WWE, or even matches and other promotions like New Japan or Ring of Honor that's coming up. I've seen a lot of wrestling over the weekend. Like I said, Impact and the Honor Rising and Friday, which that was early in the day before Impact, but multiple releases, which I'm sure people are already going on now saying, will any of these people go to Impact, or will they go to AEW or Ring of Honor? Or listen, I can go on TJ Perkins right now since he was in his company before, but I'm not really sure if he would come back though. But hey, I don't know. We could say anything, and I'm just gonna save that. I'm gonna save all those releases because I know it was 4 people on Friday. I'm just gonna say names. TJ Perkins, Hideo Itami, Ty Dillinger, Arn Anderson, which was really a weird one to me, to why he was even released. But like I said, from producer changes and many things, I know some people going on right now. Could any of these people come to Impact? We don't know where these people will go, but I was going to save their stories probably for Monday because I know it's going to be a lot going on that show. But in regards to Impact Wrestling, yes, we were back in Las Vegas, Nevada. They were out of Mexico. I don't know how the tapings went, but they're being showed on TV now, and pretty much kicking off the show was Johnny Impact. Not that big of a reaction, to be honest. What was it, Sam's Town Casino, I believe it was, in Las Vegas. Johnny came out, and it's rare to see someone do business that they're going to do. As he said, he was a fighting champion, and he has proven to be a fighting champion, and he would give anyone that deserves a title shot. And he related himself to the crowd and everything, like a kid on the guardrail. That kid wants to see fighting champions, which you could even hear. I know it was a light kind of chant, but you could hear people chant Killer Kross while Impact was talking. Johnny pretty much says, this is the business that we make, and he said he's beat 3 other wrestlers, and now he has closed that chapter. It's now time to move on to the next challenger, pretty much. But Moose came out saying he won a title shot. He is next in line, and that Johnny isn't a fighting champion. He's a crybaby, and he's the worst champion this company has ever had. And I would have been champion last week if it wasn't for Killer Kross and Brian Cage calling him stupid, because he thought Kross was his friend. But as Killer Kross came out, but got pretty much a big reaction. He is from Las Vegas. If you remember the last tapings, he was really over because people like Killer Kross, and like I said, it's his hometown. But Kross came out and he called Moose, he was a betrayer, he was a son of a bitch, and he said, you don't cross a killer. Good pun, I'll give him that. Kross pretty much said that Moose, you don't know what you're dealing with, and he said that Moose's outfits was stupid, and Moose pretty much said, I guess he brought up a fashion designer, John Paul Gaultier, and he told him not to bring it up, but Johnny Impact said your boots look ridiculous, the whole golden sparkling boots things. Moose said he said he was in the NFL for 7 years, and if Tom Brady threw 6 interceptions and Bill Belichick would bench his ass. And Moose said that he's going to bench Kross right now. You've had your chance. It's my turn for a title shot, pretty much. But Johnny said that he was laughing. I said it's up to have friends in this business, and he says that, you say you both think you're A+ guys, but you're just an A and a B. There's always an A and a B. So how about this? Number 1 contender shot right now then. And Johnny said this match we'll find out who's the alpha and who's the bitch. And Kross said that's cute and everything, trying to take something out of my book of manipulation, huh? But with Kross was at the top of the Moose pretty much hit him, which went to commercial, having a match. Excuse me, I had to sneeze right there. The match came back on after that. After commercial, pretty good segment though, I will say, with all 3 of these guys. Johnny trying to start a pot with both of them, which I guess these 2 are going to betray each other sooner or later, between Moose and Killer Kross. But as they had a match go on, which wasn't really that bad, as they kind of spilled onto the outside, brawling with each other. Johnny pretty much tried to, I guess, talk crap to both of them. Kross took some hot coffee and threw it in Johnny Impact's face. Moose hit him with a kick in. They pretty much threw him back in the ring, which I guess they just decided to beat the hell out of him, and it ended in a no contest. And as they started beating up Johnny and everything, put him in the cross jacket, and Moose was stepping on him. Brian Cage came off for the save. Then after that, pretty much hit him with the tornado claws. They both hit a super kick on both guys. And both guys, stood in the ring with each other. Then, pretty much, knocking out the heels after that. So we do have all 40 guys still in the title picture. I will say that they are still building up Brian Cage as a sympathetic face, since the guy keeps getting screwed over every title shot he's been getting. And they do have Moose, which I will say did cut a really good promo out there also, and Kross, who is like the mysterious person of just manipulating Johnny Impact there. So they are, I will say, the main event scene does look good right now for Impact and his challengers, and they've built them up really good, especially Brian Cage. So it's going to be more into that later on tonight. But they went to Don Callis and Josh Matthews as they talked about tonight's card, and that'll be the final chapter for both the Lucha Brothers and LAX for the title shot and everything. But Don Callis said we've been on a hiring spree, and they have hired a new person for Impact. As if you listen to Conan's Keeping It 100 podcast, Disco Inferno was hired, which Disco Inferno, I believe, was on the last tapings for if you remember, he was on the Turkey Bowl on Thanksgiving night. Yeah, I remember watching that. It was Thanksgiving night, and he was part of that whole Turkey Bowl TNA usually does every year. I don't know why they still do it, but they do that every year on Thanksgiving night. And excuse me, pretty much as Disco Inferno, we're going to get to Disco Inferno later. They then went to LAX then, as Conan says, we're going to do this, serious like a late period. And, we got this Scarecrow standing at LAX's field. But tonight, this is the final time between LAX and the Lucha Brothers, okay? You guys kept it respectful, win, lose, or draw. Everyone's going to come out good, and, you will, shake hands and everything. And so we're going to have a great match, so let's do this tonight. Brian Cage was then sitting in the back with Johnny Impact somewhere, which, Johnny says, I know you want a title shot, and I've agreed to that. And we will have a clean one-on-one match, and not those two being involved. But, Cage says, I'm done doing favors for you. Like, I can't trust you anymore. We're friends, but this has gone on long enough, okay? This how many times this is going to keep going down. But Johnny pretty much gave him some paper, said this is a contract for your title shot, okay? One-on-one. All you got to do is help me get rid of Moose and Cage. Moose and Kross. It's good. Cage didn't believe it, but Johnny said just read the contract and you'll see what he's talking about. So I guess Johnny trying to be the honorable champion and actually giving him his title shot, a one-on-one match without anybody getting involved, or just trying to screw over, or any multi-man matches or anything. You're going to get your match between us, okay? That's how it's going to go, one-on-one. They also Impact the United We Stand, which they've really been building that up with a lot of matches, I will say that. I don't know when is that show anything. Wait. I don't remember which one it was. I think it's coming in April, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember the date, but I know they've been hyping that United We Stand show, which I do believe the main event is the Lucha Brothers versus Rob Van Dam and Sabu, which they said was Sabu. And they also had other matches. I guess Team Lucha Underground, which Lucha Underground is just, I don't know, man. Too many people being held hostage over those contracts. That's why a lot of people can't really be signed with a company, exclusively, because Lucha Underground has held a lot of these guys hostage and everything. I think I don't know what to do with the AAA promotion, but these weird like contracts where you're on a 7-year thing. I know people like Evilise and others that are part of Lucha Underground are being held hostage from the stories I've been hearing. I've heard this before anyways with Pentagon like a couple years ago too, but I think it's being more to light. And I don't even know if it's good. And to be honest, I know they said it was Team Lucha Underground, where they named other matches. Was it Drago, King Cuerno, Daga, Aerostar versus Team Impact, Cage, Moose Edwards, and Johnny Impact. Eli Drake versus Tessa Blanchard in a gender match, which I remember reading early in the day on Twitter that Eli Drake didn't even want to do the match, so why was it still announced? I'm not sure. It could be due to the tapings. And it was an Ultimate X with Chris Couto Brazil of MLW, which is also another promotion, and Jack Evans of AAA. But just to say, with Lucha Underground, I don't even know if there's going to be another season of Lucha Underground, because season 4 was not that good, people, and you could tell they were out of money given where they had to move the location, to the multiple people that had left the company and are now either in WWE, or we just see most of the Lucha Underground guys on Impact Wrestling. And it was just a lot of bad things that they had to rush it. And the only thing I can remember that was really good was Pentagon being the champion, but then it didn't make any sense when they put the title on Jack Swagger, Jake Hager, whatever. I'm sorry, Jake Strong, and then Wade Barrett was the evil power or something. And a lot of people were more murdered off the show, and they were gone, like Jeff Cobb or Ricochet was gone last season, and we all know him in WWE now. So I'm not even sure if it's going to be another Lucha Underground for the El Rey Network for a season 4. I'm not really sure if that'll go down, given, like I said, a lot. You could just look at season 4 and compare it to the past 3 other seasons. Look how much the budget went down, okay? You could tell from cinematics in a way to, like I said, they moved the location, and we lost a lot of people that they were just either being killed off on that show, which I don't even, like I said, I'm not even sure will be a season 5 for Lucha Underground. Lucha Underground is a very weird taping schedule, because they tape the show in like 1 or 2 weeks, and then we play it later in the year, which way later in the year that this show was taped many, many months ago. And I don't know. Lucha Underground just has a very weird contract thing to what I've been hearing, and I just wanted to speak on that real quick. They played a GWN flashback. I think it was from the WrestleMania weekend show with the Lucha Underground versus Impact show. I do remember that. It was actually pretty good. I just remember the only thing, the biggest thing you could remember was when Alberto fucked over the company and just didn't show up, and they had to get rid of him because that man cannot be fucking trusted, and they should never hire him again. If you remember that whole fiasco that went down. The Rascals were in the back. They were in that 70 show thing, sitting, I guess having a smoke session, and they were talking about what happened last week in Mexico until Gamasine came in for the Desi Hit Squad, pretty much laughing and had a hookah thing. Let me tell you how to, I guess, do things, which had a 10 minutes later thing, which I guess the Rascals were too stoned, and I guess they used some type of, I don't know, it looked like something you would see on a Looney Tunes thing with a smoke effect with Gamasine as he smoked it out then. So I don't know where that's going, to be honest. So it's kind of weird. They hyped up Reno Scum, who will return next week on Impact. Like I said, I talked about those guys last week. So, like I said, we need tag teams. The Rascals didn't win against the Desi Hit Squad. Like, come on, who did you really think was going to win? It wasn't even a bad match also. It's just the Desi Hit Squad lose so much. What credibility do they really have around here? They don't really win anything, because they haven't built them. Rascals, they're doing really good, and they kind of mix up the tags with all 3 guys a lot. So Trey getting the Top Rope Meteor for the win was pretty good. So like I said, nothing really much to speak on that. But like I said, it was a good match, but come on, you knew who was going to lose. Melissa Santos then interviewed Eli Drake as he talked about his match with Eddie Edwards tonight. Talking about, he made a, talked about why he attacked Eddie Edwards, calling it revenge. And he said early in the match that Edwards had raised his hand and, return a favor. But Drake says, I'm not getting angry with you tonight, because he's going to show Eddie the way. I guess it's going to matter that whole hardcore thing, because the hardcore thing is making Eddie a loser, and that, it's not an insult, that it's just a fact of life. But it was a pretty good promo from him also, to talk about the match with Eddie Edwards tonight, which I'm kind of getting tired of crazy Eddie Edwards, which it makes him more interesting, but him sticking his tongue out all the time with the kendo stick and stuff, I'm kind of hoping Drake does kind of convert him back into, regular Eddie Edwards, but at least give him still an edge, because crazy Eddie Edwards is good, but he's coming a little bit too silly with the stick the tongue out of his mouth thing every 10 seconds, which is just kind of weird. I know he changed his style and he's committed to the character, but I don't know, man. I kind of want the regular one to come back now. Rich Swann was in a hospital bed, I guess laying down, until Sami Callihan sat next to him. He says, no, don't move, all right? And he says, I know your parents can't be here, he said, and, that Rich has to sleep in a hospital bed, but I'm sorry for putting you here, but that doesn't stop, okay? I know you have potential, but you're not using it. I've supported you for all times and everything. And, I'm like your big brother. I've helped you through the hard times, even while I was in Japan. I called you. I was the only one that helped you, and you're talented, okay? You're one of the most talented people, but you're just not living up. And I need you to come home. as I guess the nurse came in and says only family was allowed into here, but Rich said stop. He said Sammy is family. So it was an interesting segment to see where this is going after, Callahan beat the hell out of Rich last week, and I guess putting him in here. I don't know, Swan gonna turn something on him now and join Callahan after he let him stay. But it was a very interesting segment. Could this end up in an X Division title match? Maybe. Or maybe Swan does join OVE. But then how the story goes, I'm not really sure. But it is getting more interesting every week. Eddie Edwards then went against Eli Drake, which was a pretty good match, I will say that. It kind of ended up with Eddie Edwards trying to use his Kindle stick there until the referee argued with him. Drake was about to hit him with it, but Edwards pretty much, rolled him up then, and pretty much won from there. Which, Drake was a little bit surprised. So I'm assuming this feud still goes on more and more since it was a roll-up pin. So I don't think this is the end of these two. But a really good match, though. Tessa Blanchard was arguing Impact Management until Rolando Melendez, the investigative reporter, asked what was going on and that they won't give her rematch for the Knockouts Championship because this is all because of Gail Kim. This is her fault, and that Impact Management keeps protecting her and that she's a part of it. But they can't protect her forever, and she's going to get her rematch one way or another. Disco Inferno, which actually did show up on the show tonight. Glenn Gilbretti was talking about how it was his first day on the job. And I guess he asked someone, like, where's the management office, which they kept giving, like, are you going to go left here? You're going to turn left here. You're going to go right here. You're going to up the stairs, go down the stairs, go left here. We're going to turn to Albuquerque. Make this a Bugs Bunny joke because I said turn to Albuquerque. And you're going to make it right there. 2 lefts, 2 rights, up the bathroom, down the bathroom, up, down, side to side. I don't know where it's going office. Which I guess Disco kind of knew, which he locked himself out of the building then, walking outside, pretty much telling them to let him in. I'm a big star, which was pretty funny. I will say that. Some people look at it back as, what was it, Chris Jericho locking himself out back in WCW when he was supposed to go against Goldberg back then. So this was a pretty funny segment to look at with Disco Inferno. Pretty quick, simple, and to the point. They didn't have too much of them on TV, but I admit that was pretty funny. Alicia Edwards went against Delilah Doom. I never really heard who Delilah Doom was, but this match didn't really go anywhere since Tessa Blanchard came out. Military press Alicia to the ramp and then started beating up Delilah Doom. Doom tried to, knock her on the ropes, I guess go for a 619, but Tessa caught her, which was kind of weird. They were trying to struggle the spots at one point, because I don't really know who Delilah Doom is, but it looked like they were really trying to get that power bomb going, because she tried to motion herself into it, and I don't think Tessa was able to get it to like a few seconds, and it kind of took some time. Even with the hammerlock DDT, it looked like a time to, like, she got her in position, but it just kind of looked awkward to how, I don't know. I don't know if you could blame Doom on this, but she just kind of, she struggled to get that, struggled to put the hammerlock DDT in, which, she's still connected. It's nothing much to, I will say this match wasn't really enough to talk about, really. This was just, I guess, build Tessa Blanchard. I guess now she's beating up the roster until she gets her match with Gail Kim, all for the Knockouts Championship. But since, I guess, Tessa may be out of the title picture, this is building up to her and Gail Kim, which I don't know how long they can keep building. Just keep building it, be really good. Save it for a pay-per-view. Save it for that Rebellion pay-per-view that's coming up in April, if I'm not mistaken. Don't do it on a regular Impact show. That's a pay-per-view worthy match, and that could be a damn great match also. Listen, Gail Kim can still go, okay? Gail Kim's not even really that old. Yes, she's part of, management now and more of a producer in the back, but Gail Kim's like, what, I think 40 years old? Like, Gail Kim is still the shit, so they could have a great match, her and Tessa Blanchard, when that comes, but it's still build up, keep going. They showed a vignette for Ace Austin. I've never really heard of this guy. Maybe I need to go look him up, but they did build him up. I will say that. Not build him up, but at least show a promo. Maybe we'll see more throughout the week. I don't know when he's coming, so we'll see what happens then. Delilah Doom, I guess says she wants a match with Tessa Blanchard next week, so watch out for that. Dark Alley and Sue Young were in the back, which James Mitchell returned, and Rosemary is there. As Mitchell said, you can't have Allie back, but Rosemary said that Allie doesn't belong to you. She belongs to the Shadow, but Mitchell says, I have possession 9/10 of her. And Rosemary said, we'll have an agreement. Here's the deal, okay? And since this is Vegas, and I guess in about 2 weeks now, Rosemary says, you can bring it back to him, whoever that is, but Mitchell says a match. It'll be a Dark Army versus Dark Army match. You build your army, and he'll build his army, with Su Yung and Dark Alley is able to stand into the side. And if Rosemary wins, you will be able to have Alley back. You will be able to regain her soul, which I guess will turn her back to regular Alley. I know people are tired of this whole undead thing, but I'm sure this will probably end in the next week or two once they do this, Dark Army thing, I guess. And I didn't know James Mitchell was still part of this whole thing, to be honest, but at least they were able to see him again, which was pretty good, and a good promo between him and Rosemary. So whenever this Dark Army match happens, I'm sure it's going to be ended it. I'm sure they're just going to put, I'm sure Rosemary will just put, what is it? I don't know how many people it's going to be in this match, but I'm sure Kiera Hogan and Jordan Grace will be involved, and they will go against Alley, Su Yung, and whoever is involved. I don't know if it'll be a 3-on-3 women's match. I don't know how many people will be in this match. It would have been, and I will say this would have been cool if this could have happened. If they would, it would be cool to see Decay return, if we were able to get Crazy Steve back. But I think he's in the NWA thing last time I remember, Crazy Steve, or whatever he's doing right now. And Abyss is with WWE now. So it would have been cool to see Decay come back for this match. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen now. So you might as well just blow that out of the water. They talked to Taya Valkyrie in the back about Tessa Blanchard's rampage. As she said, I'm not going to respond because I don't respond to temper tantrum of a child. But Taya says, she's in, take a juice box or whatever, so she's not worried about Tessa. In the main event, the Lucha Brothers versus LAX for the tag team titles, which wasn't a lot of promo packages for this, but I will say this was a good match. People were with LAX and, the Lucha Brothers, which every time you put these two teams in the ring, it was great. It wasn't like as great as their first two matches, but this was mostly to build story, really. And some people think, now, the week before this, I believe Phoenix was hurt with some injury at some AEW show. So some people believe that they may have kind of toned it down a little due to Phoenix's injury. Or maybe he's okay, and you still have to do the taping, so maybe he's good. Maybe they had to lighten it down a little. But it was the Lucha Brothers winning with the Spike Fear Factor on Ortiz for the win. Conan pretty much then, was applauded everybody and, shake hands and stuff. But I guess when they were, when he wanted him to show Conan wanted him to shake hands, LAX pretty much was going to shake the hands, but Pentagon and Phoenix pretty much did the Sierra Medio thing to their faces. LAX then pretty much super kicked both of the guys to the ground, unmasked both of them, which the crowd immediately big time boos and ended the show after that. So I'm sure this is going to keep going. Conan looked confused, wondering what was going on, because I'm sure he figured this was going to happen. So now where does Conan stay in this? Does he stand with LAX, or does he go with the people he manages in MLW of the Lucha Brothers? So this feud is not over with these guys. I know it's their third match, but this is more of the story this time. Are LAX heel now for doing this, or are Pentagon and Phoenix heel for doing the Sierra Medio thing in their face when they wanted to shake their hands, but now since they have stolen their mask, showing one of the biggest disrespect, especially in Mexico when you mask a luchador, that's one of the ultimate disrespects. Where does this go on from here? So this is more of a build-up into something else between LAX and the Lucha Brothers, which it is interesting. And where will Conan stand in all of this, huh? Where does he put his 2 cents into this whole thing? But overall, really good episode of Impact. Mostly a lot of things to build up. I did like the beginning segment with match with Kill Kross, Moose, Johnny Impact, and Brian Cage, as they still build into this whole story going on. I did like the ending because it was more of a storyline development. What else was on this show? It was some good things. Disco Inferno was pretty funny, I will say that. Tessa Blanchard on a rampage now, going after anybody until she gets her match. I will say one thing, and they didn't do this tonight, and maybe this will be next week, but I could have swore they were supposed to have Scarlett Bordeaux debut in her match tonight, since they were back in Vegas and they had a vignette for 3 to 2 weeks for the return to wrestle. Maybe that's next week, because I could have swore it was tonight, but I guess that did not happen. But maybe she will wrestle next week. But it was actually a pretty good episode of Impact. Not really that bad. Nothing too fucking silly on this show in Vegas. So it was a very, really good show, and I enjoyed it. But I'm going to go. I'm out of here. Comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think about the show tonight. I'm going to, I don't know. We'll just see what goes on. It's going to be a lot. It's been a lot of newsworthy week, if you ask me. And, regards to wrestling, I will say that. And to be honest, in my neck of the woods in Chicago, it's been a lot of insane news, court stories around here. I'm not going to get into that, but, a lot of newsworthy week for wrestling. But I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Like I said, comment, subscribe, and tell me what you think about Impact Wrestling. And follow me on Twitter at HoodedKnight890 so I can post more on this, and we'll see where this goes on for you. But I'm out of here. See you guys later. Peace.